This is Curtis here with Ironman Magazine blog, and we have Mr. Arya Saffaie, who will be competing in the 2014 Mr. Olympia this year. How you doing?
Doing great. Feeling ready.
So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about this is your first Mr. Olympia. So what does it take in your mind to get to the Mr. Olympia?
Well, the first thing my mind thinks of when you say that is discipline, dedication, and passion. If you don't have any of those, it's going to be too hard to go through the road it takes in regards to the food that you have to stop eating, start eating, the social life you probably have to put away. A lot of life changes. I mean, your whole life really has to change to get to the level of this high of competition, because your life starts to revolve around all the necessary things it needs to do in order to get your body to look a certain way. It takes a lot of your time and heart, and yeah, it takes a lot of discipline. That's the main ingredient.
And also, how long? For the people out there, how long have you been training personally?
Well, for me personally, I've been training. Honestly, I like to say my whole life. I mean, since I was 5 years old, my dad had me doing push-ups and pull-ups. My whole family was very active. So for me, this is something that I've always done. Never really had the idea of competing. Even in high school, that's when I really started hitting hard with weights. 15 years old is when I actually started my weight training. And I was really into weight training my whole high school time period. After that, me and my brother, we've always worked out together. We just kind of continued with it forever. Bodybuilding wasn't something that I was completely into, like as far as the actual overly developed muscle, because I didn't want to get, I just never had a desire to get too much of that huge body mass,
right.
And that's just my personal preference. I was more into, like, you know, the broad shoulder, small waist, and then in 2011, Physique came out as a possible category, and I started to see that, and I said, hey, that looks like something I can do, kind of fits my frame. So I saw my brother, he competed, and when I saw him do that, eventually one day I just woke up and I said, you know what, I'm going to do a show. And I signed up 6.5 weeks before my first show, and from then on, it's been history.
Wow. So what type of training, weight training, do you do in the off season?
Off season, again, my off season, to be honest, isn't too much different than what I'm actually doing on season. Really, it's just maybe try to go a bit heavier on certain workouts when I'm getting those extra calories, to try to take advantage of those calories and turn them into more mass. I want to go as heavy as possible, because when your weight goes up, you're going to feel stronger just because you have that more body weight to push heavier weight in the gym. So that's really what I can take advantage of most. When I'm in season, I normally run pretty light. I'm running anywhere from 152 to 158 in season. Off season, not much heavier, you know, 162 to 168. So those extra 10 pounds of weight that I have on me are going to help me push more weight in the gym, so I can use it to get a heavier workout sim. It's going to ultimately build more muscle and hopefully keep some of the muscle when I diet down. That's pretty much the mind state in the off season, just to get as big as you can with the extra weight you have on your body to use.
So that pretty much goes into the next question, which I think you pretty much answered. You know, how does that training differ when you're getting ready for a show? So what about your goal? You know, what would you say your goal is going into this Olympia, and also on the overall vision of the IFBB in the future?
Well, for me, I mean, all this came so new, so fast. I mean, my goal, obviously, going to the Olympia would be to hopefully score a top 5 spot. If you can get top 5, not only does it automatically qualify you for the next year, which would be awesome, but that's just the 5th place, the furthest place where you still get awarded and recognized as somebody that placed in the Olympia. So for me, obviously winning would be amazing, but I'll be extremely happy with the top 5.
Right. So could you tell us your first show, and you know, how was the experience?
First show was a crazy experience. Like I said, one day I woke up and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a show. And I signed up for a show that I was planning originally signing up for one about 12 weeks from the day I decided to do it. I was talking to my brother, he's like, you know what, why don't you just do the next one? It was like 6.5 weeks, and I was like, I'm not sure if that's enough time, but I was like, you know what, let's just do it, 6.5 weeks. So I started, next thing I knew, I went to Whole Foods, got my food ready, dieted, the whole deal, and I ended up taking my body, I've been working on my whole life, but I took my body in those 6.5 weeks to a physique that I've never seen before. I was extremely impressed with myself, and my lifestyle changed, a lot healthier, a lot better, and I ended up getting first place, my first show ever, and that was just obviously a great experience. Pumped me up totally for more. So
can you tell us the title of that first show you had?
It was the Grand Prix muscle contest in Culver City, the Grand Prix. I got first place there, so for that I was just the first place at the Grand Prix. I was champ there for that as my amateur show. I didn't win the overall. The overall was what I really wanted going into my next show, but this one I was so happy with first place in my category. But I still had a lot of learning to do, posing. It was so new, I didn't really know so much of the sport, but I was definitely happy with the first place.
So, you know, a lot of people, they go into shows, and obviously it's hard when you're trying to prepare and to stay motivated. How is your support group when it comes to training, you know, and getting ready for a show?
I mean, my family has always been a huge support. Particularly, I'd say my brother Mike Saffaie. He's also an IFBB pro, and me and him have been into this our whole entire life. I mean, he's been a big inspiration for me to just always stay driven to certain goals, and my biggest support would be from him, because this is our lifestyle. It's something that we pride ourselves around. And it's something we've been doing long before competing. Competing had nothing to do with our desire to be the best we can be, to be the strongest we can be. Competing was just the way to go, put that out to show what we already do and love to a stage and audience. And, you know, competing or not, we're going to always be doing what we do. But to do it in a competitive manner, I'm a competitive guy, it makes it that much funner. So that's definitely a big help, and my brother would be my number one fan support. My whole family, friends, they're always there as well.
Wow. Can you explain in detail, you know, the type of training you did to get ready for the NPC? Because in the past, I know I've spoken with Mike before, and you guys, he was talking about the sort of the unconventional way that he got ready to do shows. Can you give a little more detail for us?
Yeah, a lot of what I do is not just iron lifting, weights as far as that goes. I mean, I have several sections to my weight training aspect. In the beginning, I always go heavy. I want to make sure my muscles feel the heavy weight, to touch that, to remember to keep onto this muscle, don't let it go, we need it, we go heavy. That's what I want my muscles to always think. As I go to the middle and end of my workout, a lot of supersets, go for a pump. I go for a lot of supersets and really get that pump and burn you like. But the other element that I mix in there is just body weight, like calisthenics type workouts. Every Saturday we generally go to like a park in Manhattan Beach, and we do a certain type of bar workout, which is just push-ups, pull-ups, muscle-ups, dips. It's actually a fun, creative day for us, a day where we can go and use our body weight to get any kind of workout we can possible. We have a structure, but we also kind of play around a little bit, and it's like a fun, free day. But I ended up mixing in basically the weight training aspect once a week with my body weight exercises. The combination of lifting with iron and my own body functions and moving around, I feel brought out a different physique in me that really kind of shifted the way my body would have looked if I only stuck to weights.
Wow. So I know you kind of answered this already. I wanted to ask you, how long did it take for you to become a pro?
To become a pro, actually for me, considering the industry, fairly quickly. My first show, as I mentioned, I got first. And the second show was in July, which I was 3 months after my first show. And I was like, you know what, let me do that second show. And this was the LA Championships in Culver City again. And I had no idea at this point that this is the show that most people go to before the USA's, which is 1 week after that. And that's where you can go become pros at a national level. I didn't even know about this. I was very new again to the sport. As a matter of fact, when I found out the LA show was as popular and big as it was, I was like, shoot, I'm not sure I want to do that. I wanted to go and hopefully win overall. This is going to be challenging to do that because a lot of good competitors go here. to get that win, take that win to the USA's the week after. So I went to that show, and the LA's second show, and I got first place again, and I was extremely happy. And then for the overall, which was my main goal, I wanted to get one of those cool sword trophies. I ended up going against all the other competitors that got first in all divisions, and I'm in Class A, which it goes from height A to 6 divisions, taller and taller. So I'm the shortest guy, so to win the overall for me is challenging in that sense. But I got the overall trophy there at that second show I did. That gave me all the motivation. I said, well, you know what, let's go try and go pro. So a week after that, so far this is about 3 to 4 months from my first show. I go to the USA, so my class was about 43 competitors, and I got first place there as well. So
wow.
My third show, I got first the third time in a row, that time earning me my pro card. So about 4 months, I was able to turn pro.
Wow, unprecedented.
But at the same time, I've been working on my whole life, so it took my whole life to earn the physique. Competing, it took 4 months.
Wow, that's great. What advice can you give? You know, there's a lot of guys out there trying to go into physique and aspiring competitors. You know, what can you give them to think about when they're just starting out?
Well, for one, I think it's a great thing to try and do in the first place, because win or lose any show, you always come out on top, because you're most likely going to have a healthier lifestyle, as long as you're staying naturally and not taking any illegal enhancers. Those you want to stay away from those. Healthy lifestyle, and 2, you're going to look the best you ever looked, whether you win or you lose. As far as actually the advice I'd give, it's really going to come from a clean diet and consistent workouts. A lot of people tend to take off days here, take days there, and have cheat meals more often than they should. But when you're on the podium, when you're standing next to the other winners, you're standing next to the guys that suffer the most. So, you know, we all have moments in our life where we have feelings of glory, and usually when you get those moments, the more you suffer, the more you earn. So it's going to take a little of that suffering, be prepared for that, but at the end of the day, you'll be so happy you did it, because not only going to look your best, you're going to accomplish the goals, and you never know where it could take you. I signed up for my first show 6 weeks before. A few months later, I'm a pro, and less than a year later, I'm going to the Olympia, so completely changed my life.
It's been great talking with you, Arya. We know you're going to do great out in Vegas. You excited?
Totally excited. I mean, 1 week out from the biggest show in the world, so definitely hard not to be excited for that.
Well, thanks for talking with us, and we'll make sure to follow up with what happens after the show.
Sounds great.
All right, take it easy.